So first up, I want to describe the first picture is of a class painting. For me, I think that painting is an activity that will help us relax a little bit. It's maybe a little bit chill, so we can maybe help us to get a little more creative when the things we do. For example, I imagine a picture in my head and I just do it my way to make it a little bit more unique. Người nói thứ hai. Có sắp hết pin rồi. Sắp hết pin rồi.
Không sao đó. Không sao đâu, được mà.
iPad em sắp hết pin.
Không sao đâu, trâu lắm.
Hình như iPad của em là sạc chung với cô được.
Đúng rồi, không phải sạc chung cái gì á, có ai có đem dây sạc iPhone không?
Không, dây sạc này dây sạc Samsung máy mới.
Thiệt không?
Dây mới.
Trời ơi, mừng vậy. Vô đi con, nói lại con, nói tiếp đi.
Nói tiếp đi em, iPad không hết pin nổi đâu.
Người nói tiếp theo.
Cho một cái ổ.
For me, I'm not really a skilled I'm not really of a skilled artist, so when I imagine things out, it's a little bit more overwhelming and a little bit more pressuring when I try to do art. I think it of like a subject which we need to do to graduate from the school year or the grade. So I think I'm not really into art, so I don't feel comfortable doing it. Hình tiếp theo là lịch sử.
Gì vậy con?
Lịch sử nè.
English all the time đi con.
Để mấy anh chị hiểu.
Đúng rồi anh chị. Không sao đâu, anh chị hiểu tiếng Anh cái khúc đó đó con.
Okay. So for me, I think of history as a subject, more like they're telling a story to you and you remember that story. I think it's a little bit more relaxing than the other subjects like math or grammar. I think it of like a little storytelling time, and we try our best to remember the story. And plus, I can't believe all of those events happened in the past, or they're not as civilized as we are. Người nói tiếp theo. I think of history as a storytelling subject, just like what Eve said, but I find it oddly challenging and difficult to memorize the story. It's like a very long essay, but you need to memorize all of it, and it's a pretty challenging thing for me because I have a hard time memorizing stories, maybe quotes, and it's really hard for me to memorize it.
Yeah. And then math lessons?
Next is homework.
Homework. Okay.
I think of homework as a activity that you do after school, so you don't forget what you do right after school, because maybe if homework doesn't exist, it's really easy for you to forget what you've done, and for the next day, you forgot most of the knowledge that you gained yesterday. So it's like a knowledge that you get, you get taught, but then you get back home and you repeat the knowledge until you remember it, until you remember most of it at least. We're not too high. I think homework is an activity that I don't enjoy much. I have difficult remembering things, and homework just, I think it makes it worse because it maybe make me feel a little bit more overwhelming at some times, and I don't feel like it's an activity for me. And I also don't have the patience to remember or do everything in one go. So my perspective of homework is not a really pleasant perspective. The next picture, maths. First Tucker.
Là người đó đầu tiên đó.
I think of math as a subject that helps you to multiply, divide, and
Kệ đi, kệ anh đi, chút nữa cô chửi.
and add and and subtract numbers. It can help you to calculate the odds of something, especially like physics, but more in math. And it can also help you to count valuable items like money. You can count it, you can multiply it, and see as the total you have. For example, I go to a supermarket. The lady said a certain amount of cash. I count or multiply or subtract the cash or divide. Then I get with the total cash I need to pay, or the total cash that is left over, and the lady needs to give me the extra cash. For example, I think of math as a pretty relaxing subject. I enjoy dividing, multiplying, adding, and subtracting numbers. I think it's a really relaxing activity for me if I paired it with a little song in my head for a little tune, which I paired it go with the thinking and calculating.
Ok, thank you.
Không, thì nói tiếp.
Ok, sorry, I'm so sorry.
Cái đó tới cái này nữa.
Còn cái nữa hả? Rồi cái cuối các bạn ơi, cố lên nha. Nhẹ lên.
Người nói tiếp theo.
Trời ơi, hay quá nè. Quá trời ý tưởng luôn em. Quá trời ý tưởng
I
luôn.
think math is an overwhelming subject. First of all, I don't think it's really important to learn all the other skills of math. I think the important skills are multiplying, dividing, subtracting, and adding numbers, which you can use later in life. But I don't think the other skills really matters, like calculating the odds, because most of us would end up with actually normal jobs and not really of a special job or more of a complicated focused more on calculating. But I also think it's a very important subject for other students who is thinking of a more unique job when they grow older.
Ok, that's it. Thank you.
Không,
Trời ơi, cái cuối lẹ lên, lâu quá, lẹ lên con ơi. Faster, lẹ lên.
ngày nói thứ nhất.
Rồi, mấy anh chị sắp xỉu rồi.
I think of being in a music band is more of a fun activity, especially if you know how to play an instrument. I think it helps you socialize with a lot of people and maybe get over the anxiety of being a little bit overwhelming on the stage when you perform. Người nói thứ hai, cái này ngắn gọn.
Cố lên.
I think of being in a music band is a little bit more stressful because I think maybe some of the other players will kind of judge you when you play your instrument, and I feel really insecure about that. Especially when you go on stage. It feels like all eyes are looking at you, especially your teammates. So I think it's just better to not be in a music band than be in one. Well, if the members in the band are not really judging people.
Ok, that's it. Thank you. Rồi.